Hey everybody, how are we doing? We are in the middle of winter, and I was in a little bit of a slump last week, but my sweet friend Rose, she called me and told me that she and her sister were reading my book and they were enjoying it. So I thought maybe it would be nice to read a chapter and spread happiness to other people. Um, it's of course still available online if you'd like to purchase it, but in the meantime, she suggested that I read to you chapter 57. It's about the stage mishaps that happened on my ship. When I messed up on stage, I tended to mess up big. The spectacle of a production show cannot be beat. Sequins everywhere, legs flying, and irresistible music, luring the audience to join in on the fun. The production shows I was involved in rated as the most popular evenings of the cruise. The passengers got to know us cast members throughout their weeks on board, as if their friends or grandkids were performing for them. After hours of rehearsing, our costume changes became a science, including where to carefully place them backstage. Zipping up a gown halfway, unsnapping a glove before the show, or precise costume order saved valuable seconds during the chaos of 9 bodies scrambling to throw on their next outfits. The lighting was programmed into the computer, our microphones tested for their appropriate levels, and the people who helped us dress, the Invisibles, doing up our Velcro and zippers, had arrived. Everyone had double-checked their fans and canes set in specific spots, and the orchestra began. But this was the live theater, and something unexpected was bound to happen. In the middle of a beach medley, we boys waited for our Rhonda to make her sexy entrance. Late, her zipper trouble became obvious once we saw her top flapping open all over the place on stage. Luckily, the zipper was in back, but she couldn't do any of her choreography facing upstage. I had to sit next to her and give her a kiss. That night, after just a quick peck, I did up that dastardly bit of hardware in as subtle a manner as possible for poor Rhonda. She was supposed to help me. I forgot to change my shoes once for a very pivotal kickline number where we all had to look like one person. Everyone wore white shoes except me, in black. Great. An astute passenger noticed it too. Another time, I was dancing and felt something strange at my ankles. I looked down and, it was my fellow castmate, fallen into a heap on the floor. Later, during that same show, dancing a Charleston piece where we had to strongly arch our backs, collapse them, and then do frantic kicks, the spaghetti strap around the neck of this poor girl snapped, right at the strongly arch our backs part, exposing all of her girly bits for the audience to ogle at. The number contained a lot of arm movements, and when she didn't do any of them, instead clutching onto her chest, at least her dignity remained somewhat intact. One of the saddest things to see on stage is a dead wig. It just looks so pathetic off of the head, off its foam, in a rat's nest pile on the stage. The situation becomes even worse to look over at my beautifully made up partner and see her uselessly bobby-pinned wig cap with her glitzy gown and eyelashes for days, valiantly smiling as if nothing is wrong. The girls came on to do a number one night, mincing about and looking lovely with pink feather boas. 1, 2, 3, 4 showgirl kicks, all toes pointed beautifully, when one of the feet landed perfectly into the feather loop of the girl's costume next to her. Utter disaster. The kicker tried to extricate her guilty foot from the feathery mess, and the boa wearer, trying not to strangle herself from the ever-tightening neon pink noose, realized her need for desperate measures. She gathered all of her strength, snapped her head forward, eyes bulging seconds before her last breath, freeing the horrid foot as it landed with an audible thwonk. The show concluded with no fatalities. One time, the cast was all on stage singing, and I got a little too excited, lifting my arm prominently into the air and doing our spinny choreography, meant to be done 16 counts later by everyone. Too early. I looked ridiculous during my solo moment, but afforded my fellow performers a nice little chuckle. Make that a nice big chuckle. In a different show, one of our guys forgot his sparkly pants, so I had to rush on and cover him. I had no idea what I was doing, so I just picked up a girl, spun her around a few times, and waved my arms elegantly. That disaster was a bit less obvious, thank goodness. Trips and falls are a given. The ship is moving, feathers get loose, and the performing area can be very slippery. On the Coronia, our stage was the ballroom dance floor. Wearing tap shoes on that surface was akin to ice skating with patent leather shoes on. Most of my falls luckily happened during rehearsal, like the time I tried to Charleston with my predecessor's unadjusted longer pants on. Boom! Or the time dressed as clowns and wearing huge plastic shoes that could have fit a Sasquatch. At one point, from the slippery floor, I looked over and saw that 2 of my fellow clowns had fallen victim too. Pun intended. The women wore spectacular white glow-in-the-dark dresses during a waltz number that we did. The couples glided along, creating a magical atmosphere of romantic Vienna, and one unlucky girl stumbled on her formidable train, bringing her astonished partner right down on top of her, high heel shoes tragically pounding sideways onto the unforgiving stage. They quickly untangled to continue the once beautiful formation, but the magic was over. At least the cleanup crew didn't have to mop the stage that night. My worst fall comes in 2 parts. Doing a number with another guy, we played Madonna's backup boys. As I went to lift up Madge, my Velcroed pants came undone, falling heavily, evilly, to my knees. This bulk shackled me, and I tried pulling them back up into their rightful position while still stupidly attempting to pick up the girl. I didn't want to mess up the choreography, see? Instead, I spread my legs for support, forgetting that the fallen pants didn't give any leeway. Down came Madonna on top of her silly boy, while miraculously continuing to sing through her dirty looks at me. The audience was in hysterics, and my face matched the red, rebellious pants that I had by now torn off. Those babies found themselves down at the tailors the next day, Velcro urgently replaced. During our meet and greet after the performance with the audience, I learned that my pants had made quite the impression. One man came up to me that I had been friendly with all cruise and said he didn't recognize me. I was quite confused. Sure, I wore my glasses during the day, but he had seen all of our shows and spoken to me afterwards. I looked at him, very puzzled, and he continued, "I didn't recognize you just now with your pants on." So there is the first chapter I will share, and hopefully you guys can enjoy that, and I hope everyone's doing well. So take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye.